I was going to tell you two short stories, but there's no time. But while driving up the 401 one day back in 2010...
I got time.
Well, you're going to be cars away. You're going to be hard to write.
No, I've got time.
You got time?
I think this is fun.
He's the Prime Minister.
When the 401 was being built, the section between Coburg and Trenton, friends of ours had a farm and there was going to be, of course, a section removed of pavement. And in the course of that, he was talking with my dad and he found out that they were not going to get as much as the neighbor farmers for the cut through their land. And it ended up in a hearing in Osgood Hall, and my dad went up to represent him. And he won the case. And a gentleman who was sitting at the back of the court came up when they were finished and shook my dad's hand and said, "That was a great, great defense. Where did you go to law school?" And my dad laughed and he said, "I didn't go to law school, I'm a minister." A real one. Anyway, that man turned out to be your father. And he and my dad struck up a friendship at that point, which went on for many years, every time that my father was in Toronto or they were in someplace similar. So we were, of course, much too young to realize anything about that at that point. But so we do have a connection. But while driving up the 401 one day in 2010 and listening to CBC News, I heard the announcement of that wonderful book on entrepreneurship. First one by a native person. I almost drove off into the ditch.
There it is.
No.
Yeah.
This is mine, which was published before. I'm a Mohawk from Tyendinaga, and I'd like to present you with this.
Witchy. That's great stuff. Well done.
I've got a million more up my sleeve, too.
Can I just tell you something that's got nothing to do, this is really, really good. Next week, I'm going to go to Pembroke, which is where my dad was brought up. The Algonquin College has created, giving my dad a posthumous Doctor of Laws degree, and I'm going up to receive it. I'm going to tell you one more time. I just want to tell you a story. Just about my dad, if you don't mind.
It's your card.
Yes, it's okay, Mike. So they call my dad now. They call my dad Paul Martin Sr. And to distinguish him from Paul Martin Jr. So my basic view is, listen, there's only one Paul Martin, and that's my dad. But I also don't like the term Paul Martin Jr. And I'll tell you the story. When I was in business and my dad had left government and everything else, I went to China. Was doing business in China. I went to China, and just happened when I was there was a Canadian trade mission. This is when Brian Mulroney was Prime Minister, and actually Brian and I have been old friends. And so my dad and I went, and we were sitting in the thing, and Brian stands up, he's speaking all of these Chinese, and he sees my dad. And he all of a sudden says, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen." So what had happened was, in the way there, the Chinese had asked me, "How do you translate Paul Martin Jr.? What does Jr. mean?" My dad said, "Been inferior," and I said no, but it'll come. So anyway, so they're still trying to figure out how you do Junior. And this guy, Brian Mulroney, stands up and he says, "I really want to talk about a lot of things, but I see the Honorable Paul Martin, my dad, is there, and I want to tell you just what a great Canadian he is. He is a great Canadian." And Brian, as you know, can tend to go over it, but he said the word, "He is great. He's a great Canadian, Paul Martin Sr. He's a great Canadian." And all of a sudden I can see in the translators' eyes an understanding of how you translate senior and junior. And so when it was all over, they introduced my dad. My dad stood up, got huge applause. I stood up and somebody looked. But then I went over and I wanted to see the translators, how he translated it. And they got Paul Martin Sr., great Canadian. Paul Martin Jr., not so great.
We would like to thank you an awful lot for being here and being such a great magnet for our fundraising activities. I'm just going to take 1 second to say that the material you might be sitting on, the Victory Fund, is the clue to winning elections these days. And if you just care to take the material home, it's a nice gentle process and great results. So I'll just leave that at that. And Dr. Pascal, we have a gift for you. You will recognize it. It's actually your local winer. And we thank you very much. The one for our honored guest is from the Devil's Wishbone. No comment on that, but the other what's included in there is a bottle of Quinte dark maple syrup from Nyman Farms, aged in one of their whiskey bottles. The bottle of maple syrup is for Therese Horvath. She is the reason, frankly, I think you're here, because she organized it. And thank you, and thank her.
Make this a little Christmas. You think I'm going to give it away? All right. Thank you very much.
Let me just say, this has been a great evening. I have really enjoyed it. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. I want to thank you, Charles, for doing this. But it's really fun. I think, come on, wow, it's really good.
What stories do you have on Lyle?
I have to tell you, when I wanted money for agriculture, he was a hard guy to deal with. But he came through.